So good day everyone. For today's video I will be going to discuss about the module 15 of our subject, which is facilitating learner-centered teaching. The module 15 was all about the transfer of learning. So let's define first what is learning. Learning is a key process of human behavior. All living is learning. If we compared the simple, crude ways in which a child feels and behaves with the complex mood of adult, the behavior, his skills, habits, thoughts, sentiments, and as well as the like, we will know what difference learning has made to the individual. So the individual is constantly interacting with the influence by the environment. So this experience makes him to change or modify his behavior in order to deal effectively with it. Therefore, learning is a change of behavior influenced by previous behavior. So as stated above, the skills, the knowledge, habits, attitudes, and interests, and other personalities characteristics are all the result of learning. We will be talking about the transfer of learning. What is transfer of learning? The word transfer is used to describe the effects of the past learning upon present acquisition. So in laboratory, in the outside of the world, how will and how rapidly we learn anything depends on the large extent upon the kinds and amount of things we have learned previously. So in simple way, transfer can be defined as the partial or total application or carryover of knowledge, our skills, habits, or attitudes from one situation to another situation. So, transfer of learning according to Sorenson 1948, he explained that transfer of learning as refers to the transfer of knowledge, training, and habits acquired in one situation to another. So, over of transfer to another situation, transfer of learning also is the ability to apply, learn in one context to new context. Transfer of learning occurs when the learner recognizes a common features among concepts, skills, and principles, links the information in the memory, and seems of the value of utilizing what was learned in one situation. So let us first tackle the importance of transfer of learning. So the main purpose of any learning or education is that a person who acquires some knowledge or skills in a formal and controlled situation like a classroom or a training situation will be able to transfer such knowledge and skills to real life situation and adapt himself more effectively. So the purpose of any teaching learning interaction is to bring about a generalization and application of what has been learned in a specific situation to real life situation and acquire a general capacity to adapt. So in transfer of learning, we can encounter the positive or a negative whenever an earlier learning experiences leads to better learning of a subsequent task. So positive transfer may be said to take place. Transfer involves generalization. There can be a stimulus generalization or a response generalizations. Stimulus generalization occurs whenever two tasks, the original and the subsequent, are similar. So let's tackle about the types of transfer of learning. So there are three types of transfer of learning. We have a positive transfer, negative transfer, and the zero transfer. So what is a positive transfer? When learning in one situation facilitates learning in another situation, it is known as positive transfer. So in this case, the past learning in one situation facilitate learning in another situation is a positive transfer. So, the past learning of one subject or activity facilitate the learning of another subject or activity, that is a positive transfer. So, for example, playing violin facilitate learning to play piano, positive transfer. A sportsman playing football, they can play volleyball as nicely. It's a positive transfer. Or knowledge of mathematics facilitate to learn physics in a better way. That is, we can conclude prefers positive transfer. So next is, the second one is negative transfer. What is negative transfer? In which, when learning of one task makes the learner of another task harder, it is known as negative transfer. So for example, speaking Telugu hinders the learner of Malayalam. Left hand can drive vehicle, hindering the learning of right hand to drive. That is a negative transfer. There is a hinder to transfer. So next is, the third one is zero transfer. So next is zero transfer. What is zero transfer of learning? So when learning of one activity neither facilitate nor hinder the learning of another task, it is a zero transfer. In this case of neutral transfer, for example, our knowledge of history is no way affect learning of driving a car or motorbike or scooter. That is zero transfer. There is a no transfer happen. So now we tackle about the theories of transfer of learning. There are some theories of transfer of learning in which transfer of learning explained. So here are some theories of transfer of learning. We have theory of identical elements, theory of generalization of experience, theory of near and transfer of learning, and transfer of learning theory ideals, and learning to learn. So what is theory of identical elements? This theory has been developed by E.L. Thorndike. According to him, most of transfer occurs from one situation to another in which there is a more or identical elements. So this theory explained that carrying over from one situation to another is roughly proportional to the degree of resemblance. So in this situation, in other words, more the similar, more the transfer. So for example, the degree of transfer as a similar of increase. So for example, driving map is easy transfer to learning to ride a vehicle. Here transfer is very fast because of the identical elements in both vehicle. So this theory of Thorndike maintains that the amount of transfer depends upon the identical elements such as method of content, aim, attitude. Theory of Thorndike explain and maintain that the amount of transfer depends upon the identical elements such as method of content, aim, attitude, and presence of both situation facilitate learning. So the second theory is the theory of generalization of experience. So this theory, developed by Charles Jude, theory of generalization, assumes that what is learned in task A transfer to task B, because in studying, a learner develops general principles which applies in part of completely in both A and B. Experience, habit, knowledge in part completely in both to instinct, to which they can be generalized and applied to another situation. Generalization consists of perceiving and understanding what is common to a number of a situation. The ability of individual to generalize knowledge varies with the degree of their intelligence. So this theory of generalization, formulated by Charles Jude, it means that experiences obtained in one situation are applicable to another situation. Put emphasis upon the value to understand, organize, and generalize specific experiences. So next is the near and far transfer of learning. So next is near and far transfer of learning. So this transfer of learning refers to the transfer between very similar contexts, whereas far transfer refers to the transfer between contexts that on appearance seems remote and alien to the another. So near and far transfer are intuitive notion that resist precise codification. They are useful in broadly characterizing some aspects of transfer, but do not imply and strictly define metric and closeness. This approach is not effective in helping educator or the like learning in terms of near and far transfer. So in this near and far theory, transfer suggested that some in task are nearly unlike some. Transfer of learning occurs easily and naturally. A particular problem thus is studied and practiced to a high level of automatically solved with little or no conscious thought. So this is called nerd transfer. A major goal in learning to read to develop high level of decoding automatically, then your conscious mind can pay attention to the meaning of implication of material you are reading. So the fourth theories of transfer of learning, which is transfer of learning theory, ideas. It was propounded by W.C. Bagley. When ideas are stressed and produced, then transfer of learning can be taken place. Ideas like honesty, trustworthy, love, etc. can be transferred in this theory of learning, which is from the word ideas. So Transfer of learning number 5, theories, which is learning to learn. Fifth, transfer of learning theories, which is learning to learn. After practicing a series of related or similar tasks, then learner learns the capacity to learn the same thing. It is found that whenever learner comes in contact with various learner materials, then he learns efficiently and effectively. Learning to learn means when learners start from one method, then it goes to another method. So here we go. Learning to learn, role memory, problem solving, ability to learn, practice of similar tasks, and solution of problems. So those are the transfer of learning, the types of transfer of learning, the importance on it, and the theories of transfer of learning that explain transfer of